Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Well, what a bizarre hurricane season we're having. The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season is the ongoing Atlantic hurricane season in the Northern Hemisphere. The season officially began on June 1st and will end on November 30th. All right, so here's the problem. Not a problem, it's what is going on. Let me see if I turn that sideways there. Look at the hurricane. Number one, there was actually a week there was no hurricanes or not even any tropical depressions that were forming any kind of hurricane potential. Number two, look at the few hurricanes we've had. Number three, look how many have completely skipped. That looks like they're barreling towards the United States and then they turn. Looks like they're barreling towards the night and then they turn. They magically turn away. There's a few little ones here, a little tropical depression, a little bit something around here just north of Cuba, just off the coast of Florida, and a little something here, about the only ones that hit any kind of landfall. Um, the rest are bending. What is going on? What is going on? This is a very quiet hurricane season. So I'm going to ask the cards. And the reason I'm asking the True Crime Oracle cards is because they have like a lot of just really cool oracles in here that are applicable to our question. I don't believe a crime has gone on. It's just, they just are very applicable to our question. So what's going on with the 2025 hurricane season? Why is it so quiet? Is there going to be a big one? Are they using weather manipulation to steer them away from the United States? And then under whose order? All right, so let's start this. Why so few hurricanes this year? Why so? You think about it, we've only got 2 months left. And as far as I know, we're only up to G or H. Yeah, so 10 hurricanes. Usually you have 10 by July, right? Well, no, not quite like that. By August for sure. 3 a month for sure, for sure. And knock on wood, there have been some deaths due to surges and whatnot, and bless those people. But knock on wood, there isn't a great big huge hurricane in the future. Okay, why so few hurricanes this year? Cult? What? Tunnel? Marriage wedding? Something has come together. People have come together. Something's being controlled from the ground, from underneath, the tunnels underneath. This doesn't make sense. Family. I look at it this way. In my mind's eye, there are so many people that hate Trump that if there was weather manipulation, would they not be barreling those hurricanes right into Mar-a-Lago? Family, marriage, wedding, tunnel. I'm going to say this just might be like a perfect, like you think a tunnel, almost I'm like looking at the hurricane, right? That's the eye of the hurricane. Sometimes the cards want to show you a symbol or a picture or something. It's not necessarily the word on the card. They're trying to show you something. So it looks like to me that the conditions are perfect, right? Because after the wedding, then comes the family, right? The two get married and then have a baby. So it's looking to me like the conditions are absolutely perfect. Cult here. When I first saw this, I thought of occult, which means hidden. something is perfectly coming together. So whether it's like the temperature of the ocean or weather patterns, just like maybe it's like a drought, right? That something has come together and has now created this situation of the hurricanes this year. Um, let's continue to read. So, is this weather manipulation by man inside? Is this weather manipulation by man? Is this a man made weather manipulation that somebody is making sure that those big storms are steered right away from the United States? Is this weather manipulation? Is this man made weather manipulation? Death, life insurance, fire. Interesting. We have the family and the family. Death, fire, inside. Maybe this is like the year for volcanoes. Maybe there's been where I'm getting here, inside, death, fire. I wonder if it's the volcanoes that we have. I'm going to say no, it's not manipulated. We have too many negative cards here. Even death itself is a no card. So no, it's not manipulated by people. What I'm gonna say there's something to do with the volcanoes, the number of volcanoes. Look at that. The clock agrees with me. So the number of volcanoes that we've had, so something has perfectly come together. And you think about it, why can't hurricanes be like, we get droughts on land, we get massive rainfall on land, like, right? Weather patterns. I mean, there was 100 days of rain in the UK one summer. 100 days in a row it rained. And then, a few years later, it's drought. So I'm going to say that there was the perfect storm. The perfect storm is creating this situation. And I'm going to say here, with this life insurance, I think that what that means is that this is a blessing to people. That there's something about the volcanoes, and we've had a lot of volcanoes this year. So is there something in the air that, number one, not that many tropical depressions get started? Maybe it has something to do with the wind. Like, you think of volcano and they create their own storms. There can be lightning in a volcano eruption. They spew and they block out the sun, and do they create clouds? I think this is part of that. It's not man-made at all. This is just the perfect storm of no storms. Will there be will there be a monster hurricane that hits the US this year in 2025? Will there be a category 5, let's say category 4 and higher hurricane that hits the United States this year? Will one hurricane eventually hit the United States this year? Will there be a monster hurricane or destructive hurricane that hits the United States this year? Power supply. There might be a couple of them. Aliens. Wooded area. All right, so is it going to hit the Appalachians again? Because I don't consider Florida a wooded area. I don't consider Texas a wooded area. No, before you put your typing down. What I mean is overall, when you think of wooded air, you think of Texas, you think of farms, right? Again, let's go back to the symbology, what the cards are trying to tell me. When they say wooded area, I think of the woods, I think of the Appalachians, I think of the Carolinas and north. I don't think of Florida, yet I know there's obviously forest there, but I don't think of Florida. Possibly Alabama, that kind of area, those swampy, kind of really treed areas. Aliens, I'm going to say it's somewhere that it normally doesn't hit. And I think there's going to be two. And it's going to disrupt the power. So it's like, for example, Helene normally doesn't hit that area that hard. I think it's going to be, we're going to see two. And one of them is going to be where we normally don't see a hurricane. And then this wooded area. So perhaps it will be the Virginias, the North Carolinas, um, that kind of thing. So I'm going to say there's going to be two. It's going to be in an area that normally there isn't a hurricane. Like you just imagine a family's looking and seeing all these clouds. What the hell's there, Ethel? Um, that's what I think we're going to see. So I think we're going to see two, and they're going to cut out the power, which they normally do. All right. Is this the new norm? Is this the new norm for hurricanes? 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 Devil. Look at, we have devil and death. Neighborhood. Missing. Healing. I'm going to say no. This is not the new norm. I think it will return to their regular scheduled programming. But this is nice to have this kind of break. This is healing for people, not to be terrified out of their minds that a hurricane is on the way. I think that with the devil in the neighborhood here is no, this is a one-off. This is a one-off. This is something, it's a nice break, but they will return back to their normal programming. We have had a lot of volcanoes this year, a real number of volcanoes, big earthquakes, big volcanoes, and somehow, some way, that's changed something for this year. Naturally, but at least two will still get through. And I think it's going to be in areas that it normally isn't. And it's just a nice break for the people who normally get hurricanes. Florida, Cuba, Haiti, all those westward islands or eastward, whatever, in the Caribbean there. It's a nice break for them, but they will return. What's the underlying here? Outer space. Outer space. I know we got aliens, outer space. Everyone calm down. I think that I'm going to say that there is definitely some kind of other planetary pull here. Perhaps it's where Mars is in the sky. We have to remember that these planets do put some kind of energy onto the Earth. Could even be just the moon and the tide cycles that are going on. But there's something here that's telling me there's some planetary energies as well. Maybe somebody who's really versed in astrology could tell me what's going on. Maybe when Saturn's in a dry fire sign, there's not as many hurricanes versus when Saturn is in a water sign. Or maybe we're in air. We're in the air epoch now, so maybe that has a lot to do with it. There's something here. There's something planetary. Like, if you don't have to believe in astrology, but astrology believes in you. whether that's ancient astrology that I use, it's just planetary energy, just planetary energies and how it vibrates. No different than when the sun is out in the middle of the day, the air feels warmer than when it's not. That's just a big space element that's affecting your life and your vibration. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and please take good care. See you online. Bye for now.